Hey guys, it's the great and powerful mystery here. Just wanted to say before we get rocking and rolling into this season finale, me and Jay don't think any of you guys should go legend tripping. It can be very dangerous. But if you guys do decide on your own to go to any of these locations, remember to follow state and local laws, respect private and public property, and just treat the whole area with respect and dignity it deserves. All right. Let's get on to the show, guys. I got stuff for you.
Holy moly. I need to get some snakes and release them around my house.
But they love eating people. They love eating kids.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
Every day that you open your mouth,
I know, right?
I'm more convinced that you're abducted by aliens.
No.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
These are idiots.
I was laughing reading this because I already knew how you would feel.
Idiot. What part of the story fits your balloon?
Well,
This isn't a UFO. But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Oh, Mothman.
Oh, yeah, Mothman.
Well, everyone, I think we know exactly what it is. So say it all with me. It was the sandhill crane.
Would you try it?
No.
You wouldn't eat it?
No.
Why?
Because they're probably toxic. There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree. Season 6 has come and gone, and now it's time for us to say goodbye. Goodbye. Just kidding.
Oh.
Hi, welcome back to Cryptids Podcast. I'm the great and powerful mystery. This is the season 6 finale, baby!
I'm J Clone 6.
What I say? You gotta match my energy.
Yeah.
I'm J Clone 6.
I'm J Clone 6.
Oh,
what song were
gosh.
you singing?
Why? I just made it up.
Well,
I
I know
make up
you
songs
made
all
up.
the time.
I think you tried to do
Not Come With Me.
I think you did. In World of Pure Imagination.
No, I know it started sounding like that like halfway through.
No,
No, it's not the tune I was trying to go with.
Oh, okay. It sounded like it the whole way through until the very end.
Did it?
Pretty much.
Well, we have playback, so
Season 6 is here
I think
again.
you just assume any peaceful singing
and
to be like that.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. Well, Gene Wilder, he's a peaceful, calm man.
I'll crack his whole career.
Yeah, but I like it.
All right, welcome back to Cryptids Podcast. This is season 6 finale. We just want to say, first off, thank you guys for the amazing love and support. It's been a wild ride,
Yep.
literally.
We're about to go on a journey.
Yeah, so let's talk about what a finale is for Cryptids Podcast. Because we got a lot of new listeners, and I kind of been not ignoring it, but just not mentioning that because I just go along because we've been doing it for so long. It just is routine for us. So season finales are multi-parts. They are often extremely large. They're very unique. Each one of them has been, at least for me, like how I research it, how I script it out, is unique to each season finale.
Right.
And this one's no exception. We're gonna do. Well, I'll read my little list of pro quos before we get it. But it's a mixture of hometown legends. So I try to find. If you guys, a bunch of you guys submitted them. So if your state has 2 submissions, then that's because I picked one and then you guys submitted one. Or if there's one state that has 3, I believe, because of 2 submissions for that state plus the one I picked.
Okay.
So we're going to mix it with hometown legends and legend tripping.
And what?
Legend tripping.
What's that mean?
So there's a whole, we get asked about a lot in emails. Where's the best cryptid hotspots to go? Where's hauntings to go to? Where's that? So legend tripping is when you're on vacation, or some people do it out of their way. Like they go out of their way to do these things. They want to go to these historic paranormal locations.
Okay.
So I tried to pick locations that are publicly accessible, that are quote unquote safe to visit for the most part. There are a couple, but just so you guys know, I'm not recommending you can go to any of these places. You pick you on your own accord.
They're available to visit.
People visit these.
Yes.
And if you have visited them in the past, so I want some listener participation. I'm going to pin it on the Facebook page, a post on the very top of the Cryptids Corner Facebook page. I would love you guys, if you have been to any of these in your home states or out of state or whatever, to pin the picture of you being there to this post.
And share your experience.
Yeah. Now there's going to be everything from fancy dressed Bigfoots, aliens, ghosts, ships, dragons, black angels, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Dang. Fancy dressed Bigfoots, though?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm excited.
Top hats and monocles, no joke.
Oh, you got the blood pumping.
So generally there's one per state-ish plus Nova Scotia and Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Because Nova Scotia got a submission.
Yeah, that's Canadian.
And then Puerto Rico got a submission.
That's still U.S. territory, right?
Yeah.
That just sounds horrible when I say that.
So let me see if I missed anything. But no, so I've been asked a lot. I guess we've been asked a lot, but I read the emails about legend tripping and where would be the top 10 cryptid places to visit. And I tried to stay away from all the big ones.
Okay.
So like when we get to Arkansas, I didn't do the Beast Boggy Creek.
Right.
You should go to the Beast Boggy Creek locations. The museum's awesome. The town itself is really behind it and is really fun. Mothman, Point Pleasant.
Right.
The whole town's in on it.
Right. And if you already are into this legend tripping stuff, you already know about this stuff.
Yeah. So I tried to find unknown ones for the most part, or local ones. Then there's a giant hamburger man.
Go on.
Well, you'll have to wait.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
So we're going to play a game as we go through this. You ready? There's actually 2 games.
Well, I just need to know one real quick before we start. Mm-hmm. Is it like a giant, like a man in a hamburger costume?
You'll have to wait.
Or is it like giant ground beef?
I think that's Louisiana, so you'll have to wait. It's a while away.
Okay, fair enough.
So I have a game to play as we go through these states.
You sound like the Saw guy.
It kind of is.
Yes.
Keep in mind, I spent like 30 hours or 40 hours on this script.
So it is the Saw. I have a game to play.
I have a game to play because you get really tired towards the end of these.
Let's see if you make it through.
So I wanted to include.
Well, don't you?
No.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I do get tired, but it's a different kind of tired. It's whatever's wrong with my brain is a different kind of tired than you. You're like eyes closed, rubbing on the mic, and I'm like,
yeah, my face is passing out on the mic. Brain exhaustion.
So as we go through the state or the place, I would like you to name the capital of the state.
Okay, so it's like 8th grade all over again?
Yes, because I would get about half of these right.
Okay.
Just from being like, Bob, and the other half, when I was going through, I would have never got that.
You're really testing me on the fly, but I like it.
And I want you to name the top cryptid, ghost, or paranormal thing that you think of when it comes to the state.
Okay.
Not that it's top thing.
Right.
We've done one from every one of these states in this career so far. So I just want what's the one that pops to your head, and I'll do the one that pops to my head as well. I can't do the capitals because I'm looking at it.
Well, true, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hopefully for everybody at home. This season finale is more fun, I guess, as far as for Jensen here.
I like fun.
Yeah. Let me take a drink of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, life's about having fun. I look through life through a funny lens.
You look funny.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
I just said that.
Number 1, Alaska.
Juneau.
It is Juneau. Good job.
Did you know that?
Yes, that would one I would get because I have a friend that lives near Juneau.
I was making a joke.
Oh, did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Before I get it, this is one that has a submission and one I found. And the submission yells at me immediately.
Nice.
Not really. Richie's very nice. It just,
okay.
He corrected me on several things.
Was it your pronunciation of certain words?
No, it was Inuit and Eskimo, the difference.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, so what's the Alaskan cryptid paranormal thing that kind of comes up to you? UFO, it doesn't matter.
I mean, for me, it's either Bigfoot or the Wendigo.
Yeah.
That's me, yeah.
the killer Bigfoot.
Portlock.
Portlock.
Yeah.
That's the one. Anytime Alaskan paranormal,
Yeah.
it's always Portlock for me.
That's what
That
I
was
think. Yep.
one of our bigger episodes. As far as total number of downloads, it's one I point to for. I mean, a story of what I mean. People say that there's some people who feel that was a Wendigo or some other creature. I firmly believe it was probably a Bigfoot or a family of Bigfoots because I think the hunters took a pot shot at a baby.
Yeah.
And then, because the natives there, they said there was Bigfoot up there.
Yeah.
The people had seen him before the Portlock incident. The town had been set up for years and had seen that Bigfoot. So what broke it right then and there?
Right. Yeah.
Probably shot a kid in the head.
Where it's stalking the tree line.
Warning. I have to give a warning, and I'll try to remember to do it every episode at the start. Hometown legends and this kind of stuff often start, and I found this out in my folklore study doing this episode, often start in very dark places. They're often born of great tragedies. So there's a lot of darkness. We'll lighten it up as much as possible, but there's suicides and lynchings and that kind of stuff, cult activities.
Darkness is afoot in this season finale.
And if you really think of like your own local hometown legend stuff, everybody at home, think about it. It's normally starts with the witch over there, or the cult, or the murder, or
Yeah, usually it's not a good thing.
So I just want to point that out to everybody. A lot of these have some dark beginnings. Some of them are just goofy and fun,
Right? Yeah.
but a lot of them do have pretty dark things beside them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Alaska, Juneau, Portlock, and then you said Wendigo/Bigfoot.
Yeah.
That cold. So, my name is Richie, and I'm a retired police officer from Alaska. I worked in several Alaskan villages, and I have a couple things I experienced along the way. And he said, nope, this is the note. The Inuit and the Ninawatu people in Alaska call themselves Eskimos, and they refer to us as such. It's not considered derogatory in Alaska. I'll just say that the Alaska, and it's probably, I don't know if it's regional, it just, the one I know personally always said that at least the people around him took it as derogatory.
Okay.
So, do whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. At the end of the day.
I do have an Eskimo ice auger.
But that's different. The brand. I have Eskimo gloves. Very nice.
Uh-huh.
Very clutch for ice fishing.
The Anaquat Pass is a small Inuit inland Eskimo village in the Brooks Range. There are two rivers that come into the village and merge into one. One of them is the mountain valley we fly into. I was usually sitting next to the pilot when we flew over a small crevasse, and I had announced that the anchorage tower that we were going to approach along Giant Creek. When I got to know the locals, they told me to hunt every place except up that creek. They called it, and it's all this is this on the map, the Inaguac Creek. And I'm trying to pronounce this, Inaguac. It's the native translation means giant person creek. They said that every couple of years or so, they would ignore the elders' advice and somebody would camp up there. And at night, they would hear, or there would be something grunting at them and throwing extremely large boulders. They'd have to flee the village to escape. The next day, they'd go back and find their camp completely destroyed. So they just let the giant people have the creek.
Yep.
So that's his first one. He has 3 submitted. So this, Inaguasi Creek, I can't pronounce it. I'll spell it for you. INUKSUGRUK.
There you go. So if someone wants to
means
Google
giant
that.
person. It's Inuit for giant person.
Okay.
But yeah, so creek giant people. I mean, we've heard very similar. I mean, whether it's a Bigfoot or whatever,
Bigfoot, a troll.
it's very, very similar things though around that. Just avoid that area. I mean, Ape Canyon.
Well, yeah.
It really,
Ape Canyon or Andrews River. They
or
went
Andrews
fishing
River, yeah.
in North Carolina.
But literally, they talk like Ape Canyon. They're like, yeah, you hunt everywhere but that place.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
don't go into there.
Yeah.
And that's what the elders are saying. You can go, just not there.
Yeah.
Whatever. Don't go up that valley.
And they did.
And then giant boulders.
And then giant boulders. So that was the police officer?
Yes, and I got more to read about him later.
Okay.
Because he's an awesome guy. I've actually heard him before he submitted this. Richie's a really cool dude. And I reached out to Richie, and maybe we'll get him on our show to share some more. And he can help me with pronunciations.
Oh, yeah.
Native American words I've never been able to pronounce because their language not supposed to be put into English.
The only ones I can pronounce are the ones here in Ohio.
The ones you see all the time.
Yeah.
And then Inuit is even harder for me. I think it's because I don't know if it's the U's and the K's.
And the V's and the...
There's a lot of V's, but I think it's like that one word has 4 U's and 3 K's.
Yeah.
Ook, ook, ook.
Yeah. It can get confusing.
All across the North Slope, so here's number 2, where I work, the area is about the size of Oregon. The Eskimos told me repeatedly stories about and here he gave me a pronunciation, Im-in-uruk. Im-in-uruk. The Im-in-uruk are the little people of the tundra. The legend is that they lived along humans for years until a human dog killed an Inuruk baby in the village of Point Hope.
Mm.
This caused a rift, in which caused the Inuruk to move underground. Now they come into the village and cause mischief and steal stuff. I've talked with many people who have claimed to see them, people that I know and I trust. The Eskimos believe that in them, like Californians believe in bears. Most people have seen them, or most people haven't seen them, but everybody knows they're real.
Wow. This is up in Alaska?
Yeah, I really, well, maybe I'll do a deep dive in this because this is the first time I've heard about this.
Same here.
And like I said, I really hope Richie will come on the show.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to talk about that.
Because it's really, I mean, it's kind of the opposite of the Oregon native tribes talking about when Bigfoot stopped visiting them, when the wrestler, the Bigfoot accidentally killed a wrestler.
Right, yeah.
And the Bigfoots felt horrible for it.
And they left.
And they just, we can't be around you. You're too small.
We're too dangerous, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Huh. Also
kind of the elves, the trolls, the actual Scandinavian trolls, like those mini ones.
Yeah.
Kind of gives you some of those vibes too.
It definitely does. It's just interesting though that he said, people I trust have seen them. I wonder if it is but going back to that history, if it is actual people that left, or if it's the same thing. If Bigfoot is an interdimensional thing, and those tribes were wrestling with them, quote unquote wrestling, whatever that was. There was an exchanging of, I don't know, something between human beings and then things from that dimensional realm, another dimensional realm. If that's what Bigfoot are, what these little people are, we were just in touch with that way more than we are now.
I mean, I think yes. Personally, I really do. That I think there is so much more to this world. I think some of it is damaged.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I can't remember what podcast talked about it a long time ago. It may have been blurry photos, or it may have been I can't remember. Hysteria 51 may have done it. The electric theory killing the paranormal. That power lines affect the paranormal, whatever realm or whatever they're using.
Yeah.
And it's slowly, the way we've built our infrastructure is slowly killing off a biome that we don't understand. That's why, like here in Alaska, they still have, probably very low power in these remote villages.
Yeah.
They have power,
yeah.
But, probably not anywhere like this, even this house.
Like
there's copper in my ceiling, for goodness sake, the room we're sitting in.
Right. Literally electricity running through everything.
So maybe there is something to that. Maybe it keeps that part of the world healthy, not alive. I'm sure there's still stuff here. There's still stuff everywhere, but healthy enough to manifest continuously.
Or just be in its natural state.
Yeah.
How it's supposed to operate.
The last one from Richie. Monster fish that will swallow a man. This one I know is true because I saw this one.
Oh, gosh.
The Eskimos know not to take their kayaks in the middle of or large lakes because a fish will eat them whole. I was on a search and rescue mission once in a helicopter about 1,000 feet in the air. I looked down at one of the tundra lakes, which wasn't even that large, maybe a bit larger than a city block, when I saw a large fish jump and eat something on the surface. Keep in mind, I'm 1,000 feet up.
Yeah.
It would be a record king salmon had jumped that high. I wouldn't even seen it splash. I clearly saw the fish's silver back and the white belly as it flopped over. I estimated it was between 6 and 10 feet long at least. And he says, we'll go back to the fish, but there's a quick random of some of the blurry stuff that I've been keen to. By far not a comprehensive list. Love y'all's podcast. I feel like I'm hanging with friends. Your brother in Christ, Richie the Cop.
Oh, thank you, Richie.
Richie, we love you too.
Yeah. It does. We are friends.
That's how it should be.
Yes.
No, so the giant fish one, I mean, I'm interested in all of Richie's amazing stories, and it's great to hear this stuff out of Alaska.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get to, because Alaska natives, as they should be, are very wary of sharing their oral history.
Right.
Because you don't trust free blankets.
Well, we take things and we smash them.
I mean, don't trust free blankets.
That's fair enough.
But no, the giant fish, I've heard several stories. The Lake Iliamna is the famous one that has seals in it. It's one of the few places in the world you can find freshwater seals.
Man. Seals and seahorses in the fresh water.
Yeah, and it's been a day.
It has been a day.
So I don't know. I really wonder what it was. There's always a chance. A lot of people kind of think that maybe salmon sharks are coming in, which are cousins of great whites.
Okay.
They look like great whites. They're much different behaviors. As far like I think it was Jeremy Wade or one of the big fishing guys tried to get a salmon shark to bite a human dummy in a feeding frenzy, and they wouldn't do it. They were scared of the human dummy every time.
Wow.
As far as we know, they really don't prey upon seals either.
Yeah.
They're almost exclusively salmon eaters. So they may not even have that part of the brain really programmed to like.
Is that where they get their name?
Yeah. I mean, because they follow the salmon runs, like
right, yeah.
So there's some theories that they actually follow salmon all the way to the spawning habitat,
which is fresh water.
Yeah,
yeah.
So they may follow salmon runs into these inland lakes.
So kind of like bull sharks.
Kind of. We don't know that because bull sharks are documented to do that.
Right.
Salmon sharks have never been proven except that one in Idaho, 2 years ago. Salmon shark ended up 1,400 miles into Idaho and died, and they said that it had to be somebody had to drag it from the ocean and threw it in that river. And I always kind of wondered if it followed a salmon run and just got to where it couldn't turn around.
Yeah.
It went too far.
It just realized it.
Yeah. So they need salt as far as, bull sharks have a special gland to help remove salt from their pee, essentially, to keep it circulating in their body.
Yeah.
As far as I know, the tuna sharks, which are great whites, salmon sharks and their cousins, don't have that gland. They don't do extremely well in brackish water, let alone freshwater. Not saying they won't do it, but maybe much more of a timed thing, though.
So what's the bull shark's gland do that allows them to do that?
Recirculating salt.
Because you need the salt.
They need the salt. So freshwater fish have developed abilities to take salt from food and stuff like that.
Yes.
Sharks live in the ocean.
Right.
Salt in their normal environment never has been a problem.
Right.
So they get rid of it as fast as they get it in.
Okay.
So if a freshwater or saltwater shark goes into freshwater, they will desalinate their body too fast.
Right.
So they'll kill themselves.
Okay.
Because their natural environment, they don't have to their body never has to worry about controlling salt.
Correct. Yeah.
Bull sharks have a special gland they turn on and off to regulate that. And a couple other shark species that do it. There are others. Bull sharks are just the famous and the big one.
So when they go in the freshwater, they can retain that salt.
Yes, they have to take the salt from the ocean,
right,
and keep it with them.
Understood. Okay, that's pretty interesting.
It's yeah. So I don't know if it's a salmon shark. I mean they'd be 10, 12 feet long. They get big. I mean, I think they top out at like 15 feet. Sturgeons are another option, but not for a man eater. But sturgeon jump. They panic when they're that. Even big sturgeon will panic and jump. I know from some of the Lake Iliamna sketches from helicopters and bush pilots, they are very, very sturgeon shaped. The people that draw them are really drawing giant sturgeon.
Did sturgeon eat things off the surface?
No, but they jump.
So you might have just saw it jump.
Yeah. I just seen a video of a guy on an inner tube got hit with a 9-foot sturgeon.
Oh my gosh.
Because he scared it.
Yeah.
And it hit him and then weighs as much as a horse.
Oh man, that would be awful.
This is going to be long.
I've been hit by a big fish. It sucks.
I did electric boat in the friggin' silver carp areas.
Oh gosh, so they're jumping in the boat.
It just feels like kids, not with like the plastic bats, but with wiffle bats, are hitting you as hard as they can.
Oh, okay.
But everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it hurts in your face. I mean, I didn't get hit with any 40-pounders.
Yeah.
There were a lot of the 2 and 4 pound carp like falling on you.
Yeah.
But like there are we missed the 40, 50 pounders. There's a picture of me and Zach on the front of the boat with 2 55ers.
Jeez.
I mean, 100 pounds of carp, and if they would have smacked it, it would have just killed you.
Yeah, that would hurt.
All right, ready for mine I found for Alaska?
Yeah.
So those you couldn't visit. relatively easy. This one I don't know if you should visit, but people do. It's an eerie tourist attraction. An abandoned igloo.
I think I know what this is.
This is a hotel in Alaska that's abandoned. It's in an igloo city. And so if you live in Alaska, chances are you've been asked by outsiders if you live in igloos. Well, no, we don't. It's a little article written by, it doesn't have the author, but about the igloo local. Igloos were a long time used by Alaskans as temporary shelters out on long fishing trips, hunting trips, or emergency shelters for extremely bad weather. So the next best thing is to uphold the Alaskan persona would be building a gigantic, round, white structure that mimics everyone's idea of an igloo, right? According to one man, the answer was yes. But true Alaskan fashion, he decided to go big or go home. It is the bigger is better state. Instead of just building himself an igloo-like house to live in, he built an extremely massive hotel for residents and visitors alike to enjoy. Pretty intriguing. If you lived in Alaska or ever visited the beautiful 49th state, head north of Anchorage to Delhi, or Denali. Denali. And south of Fairbanks to Anchorage. Chances are you'll get to see a giant round igloo structure on the side of the road. But if you blink, you might very well miss it. Located on mile marker 188.7 on the east side of George Pike Highway, this abandoned hotel is just south of how'd you say it? Denali National Park and Preserve. It's a true tourist destination all by itself. It's an odd place in Alaska to cross. Nothing more just to stop and admire the creativity behind it and what it could have been. Anyone who steps here or spends some time walking around the igloo, which you should not do because it's private property. As far as I know, you're allowed to park and take pictures. I would not go inside.
Don't go inside. Don't climb it.
It's abandoned and it's private property, and so it's not being upkept.
Yeah.
This is, how you end legend tripping. But no, it's awesome. Everybody hasn't looked at. So it's the town of Igloo City is Cantwell, located 20 miles away. It's a population just under 250 year-round occupants.
Nice.
So this little town has 250 people live in it. And so if you want to go see Igloo City, it's Cantwell, Alaska. You stay there and go to see it. Like people say, Anchorage to Fairbanks are both 2.5 hours away from the isolated structure in the middle of nowhere. The igloo was constructed in the late 1970s by Leon Smith. His envision is the hotel. It was never completed due to code violations. The building suffered from undersized windows that did not meet code. So basically, in a fire, you couldn't get out of the window.
And that's why they shut it down?
Yeah. But the shape of it prevented it because it is a giant igloo.
Yeah. I've seen pictures of this actually just recently. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I knew what you were talking about.
You can see it from 30 feet or 30,000 feet in the air.
That's awesome.
Constructed from 888 sheets of plywood to create the outside the look.
Gosh, I'm just trying to estimate. 888. Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
So each ice cube is a 8x4 plywood sheet.
That's pretty sweet.
So even though this is quite the unofficial historic landmark for locals and visitors alike, it has suffered a fair share of vandalism over the years. The igloo and connecting gas stations that sit on 38 acres are well traversed, a bit remote, stretch of Alaskan highway system. Although experiencing Igloo City in Alaska by oneself in the middle of complete isolation can give one of the faintest heart a good chill, there is so the paranormal side of this, there is some hauntings associated with this.
Okay.
A lot of it's one of those he said, she said hometown legends where basically people had gone up and fallen inside the igloo and died and nobody found them.
Ooh.
The cars get towed away because nobody knows where they belong to.
Right, yeah.
And nobody can find people inside.
Gosh.
So a lot of people, and it's kind of like, instead of it be like a trap.
I was going to say, is it like a murder house?
No, well, I don't know if it's on purpose, but people say that they see somebody like in the window looking and then run away. Inside, there's no other cars parked.
Yeah.
So they go in and investigate, and then they fall and hurt themselves, or they, maybe end up dead.
So something could be luring them in.
That, or it's just the same thing. It's just human curiosity, and your ghost gets stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there's our first one.
All right, Alaska and Frank. Not Frank.
Richie.
That's your other Alaskan friend.
Yeah, there's no. He lives right. He lives by Richie.
Yeah.
They maybe know each other.
Richie. Thank you, Richie. Yeah, that's very interesting. We should have him on and talk about, that giant fish sighting.
So remember, if you've ever stopped by the giant igloo, go to the Cryptids Facebook page, look for the pinned post, and put pictures of it on there.
Yes, please.
As far as I know, you're allowed to stop in the parking lot area. Don't go inside.
Yeah, don't go inside. Take
You
a
will
picture of
die.
the outside.
Texas.
Oh, okay. We're really jumping around here.
Yeah. I try to do them.
No rhyme or reason.
No, there's no rhyme or reason for the order.
Texas. We're going from the big state, go big or go home, to everything's bigger here.
Maybe I did them by size.
Maybe that's it.
We'll see what the next one is. So what would the next one have to be? California?
California, probably.
I think it is California, actually. Because I copied a list of all the states just so I made sure I had them.
Oh, so you probably did be by size.
The Goat Man of Old Attle Bridge.
Okay, Goat Man in Texas.
Yeah, so I try to hop everything from cryptids to UFO. I try to keep it spread because, I mean, the ghosts were overwhelming.
Right, for every state.
I mean, even some of the crazy story of a ghost,
Mm-hmm.
they're super, super overwhelming. Like
Right.
for hundreds, thousands. For Ohio, I did Hardin County ghost stops, and it's a big list.
Jeez. Man, we like our spooky stuff.
Well, a lot of people have died here
Oh,
in
that's
bad
that too.
ways.
Yeah.
Texas, Austin, Texas. I ruined the game. You knew Austin, Texas, though.
Oh yeah, you forgot the capital. Yeah. I would've
So
got
what's the cryptid or the thing, the paranormal event that makes you think of Texas?
Chupacabra.
Yeah, I get that. Oh gosh, I just forgot his name. Ned the alien.
Ned.
Remember the one, Aurora, Texas?
Yes.
The crash.
Yes.
I think they named him Ned and gave him the good
Yeah,
Christian burial.
I think it was Ned. Yeah.
That every time Texas and paranormal, I just think of
Okay.
Ned.
Okay.
And like I said, it's not the most famous one. It's just
Gosh, I think it was Ned.
it's Ned. It's Ned the
Okay.
alien.
Okay.
It just makes you think of Ned, just because it was such a weird one-off story. There has tons of documentation
Yeah.
that the government stole the body.
Yeah. They even had their own burial site and everything.
They're like, well, this little fella's not from here, but he deserves a good Christian burial.
Right. Yeah. The
Which-
fine folks of Texas.
I was like, yeah, as far as just being respectful, they're like, well, we don't know his tradition, so we'll just
Do it our way.
we'll try to be nice about it.
Yeah.
All right, so the Goat Man of Old Attle Bridge. So there's a lot of Goat Man throughout the country. This may be the only one I did for this. I don't remember because I've been doing this for weeks. What all the ones we picked were. But this is the one that's the most racist.
Most racist? Okay, the Goat Man is racist.
Yeah. It all revolves around a man named Oscar Washburn. He was a successful. I've shared this story before. He is a successful goat farmer. He was known for his quality meat, cheese, and milk. He was also his purse and his waistcoat and all things like that. So he was a black man in the 1930s in Texas that was highly successful and more successful as a businessman than most of the white people in his community.
Okay.
Not good for him.
I could see how some people would find that being a problem.
Now, here's the thing.
back then.
And I'll go through it a little bit. He was really, really loved by most of the community.
Okay.
I want to make that very clear because this story sometimes get painted that the whole entire region hated him.
Was against him, yeah.
No, he was a highly successful farmer. He made a lot of money from the locals.
Mm-hmm.
He would always, they called him the Goat Man because he had a large goat farm and he would actually go through town with several goats, like dogs. He had a cart pulled by goats and everything like that, which is common, but people forget that happened a lot. Goats are pack animals.
Yeah.
There's actually, in the Rockies, there's a guy that uses them instead of horses as pack animals because they eat I think he says 8 goats eat as much as 1 horse.
Wow.
And they spread out between them, they carry 4 or 5 times the amount of gear. They do better on inclines. They're smarter. They don't run away. Like if you set them up right, if you're the leader of the herd,
Right.
they will not leave you.
Right.
Unless unless a bear eats them. But like a horse gets spooked and they'll run from 50 miles.
Yeah, they'll just keep going.
I don't care how good your horse is.
Yeah, they won't listen to you.
Yeah.
You try calling it back.
The goats, you're the protection.
Right.
They're going to do a big loop and try to come back behind you.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So just putting that out there. So most of the story comes from a professor at the University of North Texas. He's a local historian as well and a ghost tour guide in Denton, Texas. He tells of the legend of Washburn supposedly lived off the bridge at Old Attle Bridge in the late 1930s. During that time, The Iron Truss Bridge served as a key connection point between the rural North Texas. It says this: the main passage of Dallas came through there. There was a bunch of nothing between here and downtown Dutton Square. This was darkness. And there's still pictures of the bridge. I don't know if you can still cross the bridge. I know you can still go to the bridge.
Okay. So it's not an active.
It's not. I mean, maybe a footpath bridge now.
Okay.
If it's anything.
Yeah.
But it's not like a car bridge.
Okay.
The bridge was first built in 1884. The old Alton Bridge is the oldest of its kind in Dutton County. Some helped it earn its spot as the National Register of Historic Places in 1988. So it is registered. Legend says that the historic bridge was so important to Washburn's business model, the goat farmer put a sign up there to help his customers find him.
Okay.
When you came across it, explains Tate the professor, you would see a sign that says, "This way to the Goat Man."
Simple enough.
It's bad. Remember I said at the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
Some of these get bad.
Yeah, I guess you're right. This is one of them.
Oscar Washburn was so successful farmer, building a life for himself in Dutton, that he was, like I said, he was a black man. And he caught the attention of some of the wrong white folks in town. They couldn't believe the audacity, and this is from Tate the professor, they couldn't believe the audacity of an African-American entrepreneur to be hanging his pseudonym right on their bridge. So that was kind of, they felt, he was having trouble, customers were having trouble finding him. So he put a sign on the bridge to say, "This way to the Goat Man." Some of these extreme KKK members, which we'll get to,
We're mad that he was advertising.
that he was a black man that had a business and that he put his sign with his pseudonym on the edge of town.
Right.
So, yeah, it doesn't go good. And Tate tells this. And so they were prompted that they could engage in the killing and making an example of him.
Jeez.
It's been said that one night, the local chapter of the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, marched out to Washburn's home, kidnapped him, and lynched him over the side of Old Atten Bridge. Now, there's some stories. This is the historian's version, and I'll tell you some of the legends.
Okay.
When the KKK members made their way down to the creek under the bridge to take a look at the work, Washburn's body was completely gone. Figuring that he had managed to escape, the outraged mob made their way out to Washburn's farm and burned it down with his wife and children inside.
Jeez.
Said it. Yeah, the lore then states in revenge, Washburn haunts the Old Atten Bridge as a half-goat, half-man monster, kidnapping those foolish enough to summon him with 3 knocks on the bridge's frame. There are old-timers who told me that he doesn't take everybody, that he never does, who he usually takes blood of KKK men. So they warn that, don't go play around if your grandpa was a KKK member.
Yeah. Wait, they never did find his body?
So I'll come back to that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they never did find his body.
Okay.
The Goat Man at Old Atten Bridge in the revenge story, one of his children pays for the sins of his father. Ignorance in your past is no protection for the enslavement consequences. They have unatoned debts, or unatoned debts. So yeah, they lynched him. So I'll break down some of the legends for you, because this is where it gets to it. The story goes, when the mob went out, they couldn't find the Goat Man's house until they seen the sign.
He literally led them right to him.
Yeah.
Goat Man, this way.
Now, when they threw him, they tied him up, and they dragged him all the way to the back to the bridge. With his sign, they hung him. When they pushed him off, there's where the stories kind of diverge. One story is that the rope went limp, and they never heard a thud. Other stories said they could hear him choking and crying to the devil to help punish those who have wronged him.
Okay.
And so when the one that with the rope gone, the mob went down to investigate.
He was gone.
He was gone. That's one of the stories. One of the other stories is that the Goat Man was there. That he had either become the Goat Man, or that they had summoned the Goat Man through their heinous acts. It was never Washburn. The Goat Man was a demon that they had basically summoned,
brought there,
through the lynching of this.
Right.
So the god took him up, I guess, and then a demon took his place, and now the town is still with this demon. Because apparently it killed a lot of people, depending on who you talk to.
Oh, jeez.
KKK members, kids were going missing, and stuff like that. But either way, they burnt all of his goats. They burnt his wife and kids while they were alive. Some of the people in town said there was goats on fire running into town.
That just sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it was. And that's how you make a monster. You hang a black man for having a successful business over a bridge.
Gosh. Yeah, no wonder why so many places are so, like, just messed up.
Yeah, it's like all of America is built on a Native American burial ground.
Or just...
And then lynchings.
Or lynchings.
The Trail of Tears.
Gosh.
Bad stuff's happened.
Yeah, that's not a good one. That's the Goat Man.
But it's an important story.
Well, yeah.
It is. I mean, it's one of these. So the Goat Man, when you just kind of do it, this is the one everybody forgets about for whatever reason. Don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because the New England Goat Man's the crazy scientist. The public Goat Man's a demon. And then this one is maybe a black guy that was lynched and his family and goats were burned alive.
Yeah.
And then he sucked revenge.
I don't know if it was. I'd say it probably was a demon. Just like they manifested it through these.
And then
killings.
them saying that he prayed to the devil. I don't think he did that.
Yeah.
I think that they added that to feel better.
Just, yes. So they can then, well, look,
he was a Satanist.
Yeah. Good thing we killed him. Look, he's a Goat Man now. We should have.
So it's not the only thing with the old Alton Bridge in Texas.
Oh, there's more with the bridge.
There's a cult of the Goat Man.
Oh, gosh.
Out on the old Alton Bridge, Treat was joined by some local Goat Man enthusiast, Ollie. Okay, I'm going to try to say his name. Asser.
Okay.
That's how it's spelled, too.
Okay.
He lumbered his way through the white gravel trail leading up to the bridge in a brown fur pelt, a pair of slacks made up 7 feet tall, and he was on stilts, and a custom goat skull. This guy's dressed up like the Goat Man.
Yeah.
I just made this mask a couple of days ago, he said. He was born and raised in Dutton and active in the city nightfall scene, enthusiast of the Goat Man. In addition to running a Facebook page dedicated to the Goat Man of the past decades, Asser will occasionally dress up in the North Texas Cryptid and scare his fellow Duttinians at the old Alton Bridge. So you got a chance of running in. There's a cult of Goat Man.
Yeah.
Basically, the last 30 or 40 years, there are people that are taking turns dressing up as a demon Goat Man to keep the story alive and scaring the absolute bejesus out of people.
People are just other members. I thought you said they're other members. They're just scaring.
No, he just hangs out there.
Oh, and
waits for like teenagers to come out.
See, this sounds like fun.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that accuse them of maybe
being bad.
As far as I know, the cult of Goat Man doesn't actually do anything bad.
Yeah, it sounds just like fun. Like
they're goofing off.
Like just dudes being.
This is gonna be a long season finale. We're 2 in.
All right, 2 in
out of 52.
The Goat Man.
It's 40 minutes.
Oh, great.
Gosh,
buckle up, everyone.
I may do 3 episodes a week.
You're getting your local legends today. This week.
Yeah, so that's the Dutton Bridge Goat Man. So it looks like people still go to the Dutton Bridge all the time. The old Alton, sorry, it's Dutton, Texas.
Is it Dutton or Denton?
What'd I say?
You're saying Dutton. Is it?
Let me go back to the beginning just to make sure.
It was Denton. You said Denton.
Dento. It's Denton. You're right.
Okay, Denton, Texas.
And it's the old Alton Bridge.
Alton Bridge.
Now, I don't know if you say Alton or Alton.
Alton. I don't know.
Alton. The old Alton Bridge. It's just outside of town. People go there all the time. There's, like I said, you can go to the Goat Man Facebook page, and sometimes they say when they're out there, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But it's like some people just want to go see like the cult, like one of the cult people. But there are several people that dress up as Goat Man that are out there. So don't be too scared if you look down the bridge and see a giant 7-foot Goat Man walking in the creek.
Unless it's actually the Goat Man.
Unless it's actually the Goat Man. It may be the perfect disguise.
That's probably why they're doing it.
California's next.
California.
The capital is?
Okay, it's not Los Angeles. Is it Sacramento?
Yeah.
Sacramento. Yep.
And what cryptid do you think of with California?
Trinity's Alps giant salamander.
Dang it.
It's the only one.
Yeah, I guess that would be mine too. Next would be the Dark Watchers.
Yeah, I guess so. Where's Ape Canyon? Is that in Washington or
that's
something?
I don't remember.
I
don't remember the state.
Trinity's Alps, that's what I think of. The giant salamander.
Yes. So this is from Smiley Cyrus.
Wait, we know Smiley Cyrus.
Yeah. They submitted this. I'm a relatively new listener, so hopefully nobody has mentioned this story before. I live in Northern California, but spent many years growing up in the Southern Bay Area in San Jose, California. And by far, the most prevailing tall tale everybody's talked about is the legend of Hicks Road. Hicks Road is a windy back road that goes deep into the mountains and old connections and trails leading its way to Santa Cruz. During the day, it is a great scenic route or a loop for motorcyclists. It is a rite of passage for many kids with their new driver's license.
Okay.
Aside from the frequent fatal car wrecks and menacing darkness at night, the road has a spookier story. The first and most well-known is the presence of an albino colony somewhere in the mountains.
Oh, great. Okay.
And a spoiler, this is not the only albino colony we'll talk about today.
Isn't there one like right down the road from here?
They weren't albinos, they were melanoids.
Mongoloids. But I think that's even made up.
That is 100% made up.
Yes. It's just a family that rents that house, that farmer's property.
They haven't been there since the 80s.
Right, I know. I mean, there's people that still rent that house.
I think there was
just people. It's just normal people.
Yeah. Anyway, so the story goes, albino colony somewhere in the mountains. The story is that many people who go looking for them have been chased off the mountain by people in trucks and ran off the road. People have claimed that they shot at them, rammed into them, even chased them on foot by albino creatures. The origin of the range of the satanic cult called the Holy City by Swedish settlers. Personally, I've been chased by a truck, but it was probably a resident trying to get kids to stop trespassing. The next legend is a portal to hell. It's called the Devil's Door. It looks like a huge rock somewhere. I'm sure many small towns have the same story, but everywhere I looked has at least one, but no avail. The last legend is common small town, one which goes, when you drive up Hicks Road at night, you have to go in a full car because if you have an empty seat, you'll bring back a ghost as someone who died in a wreck there.
Oh, gosh.
The legend of the road was so popular that it was inspired a low-budget horror film and book. Rumors have it the road has also been around since the 70s and has persisted in the modern day. Or rumors have been around since the 70s and persisted in the modern day. But yeah, so I have a little bit more about the Hicks Road colony.
Okay.
But yeah, this is what I wanted. One of these spots. I've never heard of it.
No.
And just Googling, like actually getting into the research and stuff like that. There's tons of little stories about this road. Every random little town or cul-de-sac has their own version of something.
Hicks Road,
California. Where I'll give the place again. All you gotta do on this one is just drive through it.
Okay.
Bay Area in San Jose.
Okay.
So the Hicks Road out there.
Okay.
And it is listed on Scenic Routes of California.
Oh, okay.
So if you go
made the list.
Yeah. You go through the day.
They say what the scenes are on that route?
Dead people.
Yeah, or albino colony.
Yeah.
Where are they? Or what's the legend behind them? I can't wait to hear this.
So this author of this article is Laura Allen. And the title of the article is Rumors of Hicks Road Colony Have Kept Drivers Away for the Area from Years. Californians has a fair share of myth and lore. One of the most well-known in San Jose urban legend involving a story of people being attacked on Hicks Road. In these Hicks Road horror stories, there is allegedly a colony of strange and vicious individuals who lurk in the darkness, going after anyone who gets too close. Rumor has it that the colony at Hicks Road has persisted for decades upon decades, but there's any validity to these stories. When it's considered that they're real facts about Hicks Road albinism colony, it's important to keep in mind that people with albinism aren't monsters.
I don't believe it.
I've never met a true albino human, but they're just people.
I don't know anyone like personally, but I've talked to people. Like I've met
an
people.
albino?
Yeah, where their eyes are almost red.
Yeah, and it's because there's no pigment in the eyes.
Right.
So you just see the blood.
Right. Yeah. When I lived in Columbus.
I don't think I've ever met one in person or met anybody with albinism in person. It's interesting. But yeah, even suggesting rather absurd and offensive. Rather than tall tales that speak of cannibalism and satanic cults, but there are any traits for people with albinism by any means. So all they're saying is just because they're albinos doesn't mean they're out there eating people.
Right, cannibals or aliens.
That said, this is a myth from San Jose that won't end. It helps that there are a ton of witnesses willing to speak about their experiences on Hicks Roads, a place where teens still venture to in the middle of the night. But There's a bunch of encounters. There's no real evidence. There is tons of car crashes. There are several car crashes that have not had bodies in them.
Okay.
And people think that that's the albino cannibals coming out and pulling.
Kidnapping, yeah.
Now, if you read some of these eyewitness reports, they kind of are describing pale crawlers. Because the quote-unquote albino people are on all fours a lot of times.
Okay.
A lot of dog bodies end up on Hicks Road. Nobody knows why. So, let's see. A lady had found her dead poodle that somebody had broken into the stall and murdered on Hicks Road a day later. They live relatively close. But a lot of dogs are found, like, in the ditches. So I don't know if dogs are getting hit there because it's like a tight, the tight turns.
Right.
Like there's a dog nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Or is it that it's a sign? It's hard to tell the dogs are mutilated because, most times they've been out in the sun and scavengers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of owls. There's an unusually high number of owls on Hicks Road. Which I just seen somebody had listed as a biologist. It's just whether it's the cliff face makes perfect nesting for them. So owls are seen swooping over the road a lot, which may be why people see ghosts a lot in the middle of the road. And we've talked about that, just a big white blurb with their weird faces.
Right, yeah.
I'm trying to, yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's very interesting.
There's also a decent homeless population in the area.
Well, I mean, so that can make me think of a few things. Especially we're talking California here, because the very big homeless population, which is horrible.
Yeah. So is this just a community of people, homeless people living out here?
And what if, like, I played the game Red Dead Redemption 2, and in that, like, you're going through whatever, the Old West, whatever, but you get into like these hills areas where it's like forest and hills where there's supposedly no one living, but these people come crawling out of the hills. Like scary people. I know it's just a game, but still, I feel like it's based in some sort of reality.
I mean, it has a lot of...
Yeah, like a colony of people come pouring out of the hills and like grab you, kidnap you, and, take you, steal you. But I'm wondering, if you're you've seen that video of that girl that was like left in, I forget what country it was, like Ukraine or Russia or something. Her parents just basically left her outside to live with dogs.
Oh, yeah, no,
and she became feral.
Feral people, like, we'll do... That may have to be a season finale someday.
Well, just imagine if one person did that. Imagine if like a few, and then they reproduce, like started their own like family out there, being feral. I don't know what humans could turn into. We're very malleable.
No, I mean, you're 100% very malleable, very adaptable. Nobody's a cannibal until you're hungry.
Right, yeah.
Which... as far as I could find, there's no real evidence of cannibalism besides some of the missing bodies in car wrecks.
Yeah, that'd be about it.
But I don't know. There's the cult stuff, and I couldn't find anything about that. But that happens a lot with these places.
Just like we were talking about earlier, around here, there's one road.
Well, except we do have a cult here, just not the Mongoloids.
Yeah, not that one road it gets blamed on.
Yeah, so that's the next one. So that's California.
California.
So thank you, Smiley Cyrus.
Yeah, Smiley.
I almost said your real name twice. They asked to go by Smiley Cyrus. Okay, Montana. What's the capital?
Ooh,
I would not have gotten this one.
Helena.
It is Helena.
Mm-hmm. I did a report in Montana in 8th grade, 7th grade.
So what's the cryptid or thing that makes you think of Montana?
Well, when I think of Montana, I think of just nature. I always think Montana is just super nice for some reason. Would be cool to end up there. Cryptid
or paranormal thing or anything.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'll say one and you're gonna immediately.
I just think Bigfoot, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's a very Bigfooty state.
Yeah.
Shaka Waricon.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty good one. I guess I thought that was more Utah.
No, that's Montana. Wyoming.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
Shaka Waricon.
Okay.
Montana. The Hitchhiker of Black Horse Lake is one of Montana's scariest urban legends. And this is by Jessica Wick. And I said this in the live stream, I'll say it again. There's a website called inyourstate.com I used to find a lot of the legends, and then went other places to get fuller backstories.
Okay.
Because they only do like a paragraph about each thing.
A quick snippet.
But they tell you where they all are,
Yeah.
if you can go to them.
Right, yeah.
But it's great to find it because they'll do lists like, here's 30 unknown urban legends in Montana.
Right, yeah.
So the Hitchhiker of Black Horse Lake. In a state as large as Montana, there are bound to be some very strange happenings and unsolved mysteries. The treasure state certainly isn't without some crazy urban legends, such as the Phantom Hitchhiker of Black Horse Lake. An especially baffling urban legend. The Phantom Hitchhiker is said to haunt the Cascade County, near the city of Great Falls. If you grew up in the area, you may have heard the story of Black Horse Lake as a notorious and mysterious hitchhiker. It is one of the best lakes in Montana, but the hitchhiker is the star of the urban legend surrounding the place. A particular tale takes place just off Highway 87 in Cascade County, north of Great Falls, right in the Black Horse Lake area. So there you guys go. If you want to go legend tripping, just drive up and down the, 87, Highway 87 by Black Horse. Black Horse is a seasonal lake. It's usually dry except for the spring and maybe early summer. This area is home, so some call it the most aggressive Phantom Hitchhiker in the United States.
Okay.
There have been many stories of the Phantom Hitchhiker in many states, but, you just get a brief glimpse of them. How it typically plays out, someone will be driving down the lonely highway towards Fort Benton, usually at night. Since this is a very flat area, visibility is very good. Someone in a car will suddenly stop a Native American man dressed in all denim on the side of the road. The man will appear to be a hitchhiker, but as the car gets closer, he'll suddenly roll over the hood and across the windshield of the vehicle as if he's being struck by the car. Obviously, the normal reaction is to get out of the vehicle and see if the man's hurt, which the driver often does. But by then, the Phantom Hitchhiker of Black Horse Lake is gone, nowhere to be found. And of course, there is never so much as a scratch on the vehicle that was hit, that hit him.
It's like running over David Lopan.
Or when I ran over Michael. I ran under him because he went over the top.
There you go. You ran him under it.
Yeah. He doesn't listen to the show, so everybody, that's my adopted brother. Anyways, gosh. So this is, people try to say this is overactive imagination. This has happened hundreds of times. A lot of tourists will call the local police station
saying they
and turn themselves in.
Yeah.
They'll be like, I hit a guy on 87. I hit a guy. I cannot find him. My wife's in the car. Same thing.
Yeah.
Will you come out here? And a lot of times the cops locally will be like, you're okay. You can leave.
Right, yeah.
And like, no, I hit somebody. And,
right.
they'll try to explain to him that happens out there.
Right. People just get hit out here.
So
and
there's all kinds of
on.
stories. People have made up tons and tons of stories for the backstory of this guy. Whether it was in the early 1940s that a Native American man, a really known local guy, had got struck by a guy that was either an accident or purposely trying to run him over. There's stories with a lover involved that one of the lovers hit the other guy with a car. And so a lot of these stuff, especially ghosts, are surrounded with tragedy. Makes its imprint. So this kind of seems to me like one of those residual hauntings.
Does seem like it, yeah.
Except you're the one hitting him.
Right, yeah. Well, it wants to be hit or something.
But yeah. So I don't know. What do you think of that one?
That it's very odd. Or not odd. I guess it's a different version of a phenomenon we hear a lot. But, I don't normally hear about the one where the ghost jumps in front of your car to get hit and imitates, not even imitates, reenacts it, I guess is the best word to put it. Now, I had a guy do that almost to me outside of when we're
just a couple
months ago. Yeah.
A couple days ago. We just had a guy try to jump in front of us a couple days ago.
Oh, well, that was, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
And the cop kind of told me to screw off.
Yeah, I know.
The dispatch, not the cop.
Dispatcher,
The dispatcher was very rude to me.
Yeah.
After a guy tried to jump in front of the car.
I kind of forgot about that. Yeah. He just
so it was a couple months ago?
Yeah. Oh gosh. The guy and I'm blanking right now.
My bad.
Yeah, train of thought but a couple months ago, I'm trying to think now I'm trying to think if I about hit a guy. I know I did.
Yeah, I admit that in national podcast.
Yeah, no, I about did, but
he didn't about.
No, okay, now I remembered. I was in Lima, driving through Lima. It was late at night. It was really dark, and I was in front of the hospital, on that road. I can't remember what it is, but I seen a guy on the sidewalk just like standing there, and I'm just pulling up. It's raining. It's dark. And then he just sprints, like dead sprints at my car. And I had to swerve over in the other lane. And he like swiped at it like he was going to smack it.
He's on drugs.
Yeah, I've realized that now. But like it scared the crap out of me because I've outkilled this guy. Like and then I'm watching him in my rearview mirror. He just nonchalantly walks back over the sidewalk and starts standing there again as I'm driving down the road. I'm like, oh my gosh.
The other guy was on drugs too.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah, he definitely was. That guy definitely was. The one from a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was scary.
Dispatcher was not very nice.
Yeah, it was just a crazy guy faking out cars. Like he's like just going nuts on
And apparently he did it to my mom 15 minutes before he did it to us.
which is crazy.
Because that's why the dispatcher was probably rude.
And
the
you would
last
think
name.
they'd want that person like, hey, we're just trying to warn you. This
He tried to jump in front of our car on a highway.
It was a
Byway.
huh?
A byway.
Well, yeah, it's close enough.
A high-speed interstate with semis and, active, constant traffic.
And walking towards a small town, like hitchhiking towards a small town. And
He was going the other way when my mom seen him.
oh my gosh.
So he was just pacing back and forth out in the country on the edge of town.
Just waiting for somebody, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Either way. Yeah, that's not, it's the California Hicks Road.
Next up, New Mexico.
Santa Fe.
You got him. I think Montana is the only one I couldn't have really guessed. I think California I would have had trouble with just because there's so many like big cities in California.
Oh, you're what you don't realize what you're doing is you're triggering an old memory from 8th grade when I was doing the states test.
Mm-hmm.
And I blanked out on Massachusetts. And I never filled it. So I got 49 out of 50 and I was mad.
I don't know what Massachusetts capital is.
Yeah, it's the only name one city in Massachusetts.
Boston?
That's it.
I kind of forget it's in Massachusetts.
And I just couldn't.
Because states like New York, well, cities like New York and Boston feel like they're their own place.
Yeah, New York is. Yeah,
It's like New York. Nowhere else in New York is like New York except New York
City. Yeah, but anyways, okay, sorry.
New Mexico, Santa Fe.
Ooh,
What cryptid, creature, paranormal event makes you think of New Mexico?
I think of like I like Thunderbird.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a very New Mexican thing.
Skinwalkery territory. Just things like that. That's the vibes I get.
I always think of aliens like Roswell and that kind of stuff.
Okay,
Area
yep.
51. I know it's just that area.
Right.
The four corner states just make me think of
Ant people.
Yeah, well, aliens like grays out in the desert and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which I tell you, I had a gray alien experience the other day.
No.
So I was laying in the playpen with the girls, 8 or 9-month-old girls, and I was laying down, and they were like pulling at my eyes and sticking their fingers in my mouth. But they just, they have big heads and big eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm laying down, and they're just over top of me, like grabbing at my flesh,
Probing. Yeah.
and it's just like, this would be horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm choosing to do this because I'm laying down. They're 20 pounds and I'm 300.
right.
But this is kind of like what I mean. Look, staring up at a light.
It's what it probably
having
feel
weird
like.
beings. They're talking complete gibberish.
Oh yeah.
Like blah, 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 to each other.
Oh yeah.
And so it's just like that should be really. This should suck.
You got your dose.
Or if you like, because my eyes sore in the corner from the willow digging at it.
Oh, that's funny.
New Mexico. A prison in New Mexico has a dark and evil history that will never be forgotten.
Mm.
The New Mexican State Penitentiary.
Nice.
New Mexico State Penitentiary, site of a deadly riot in the 1980s. They offer tours to educate visitors about history.
Hmm.
And there's still a bunch of ghosts. So, like I said, I try to pick ones you could go to. I have a lot of like state parky ones later. There's a couple of these you have to pay for. I can't remember that. I looked up how much the tour is. It's like, it's not very much.
Okay.
New Mexico State Penitentiary, also called the Old Main, is a site of the worst prison riot in U.S. history. In February 1980, inmates took over the facility for 36 hours.
Oh gosh.
While some prisoners simply tried to find a safe place to wait out the riot, a lot of them did that. Most of the prisoners did not want any part of it. They wanted to go hide in a corner because they knew when the U.S. government came in,
it was going to be
everybody
bad.
was just going to get mowed down.
Yeah.
But some prisoners didn't feel that way. Oh, well, some prisoners simply tried to hide. Others band together to rampage through Old Main, torturing and murdering other inmates.
Jeez.
A total of 33 prisoners were believed to have died during the riot, and about 100 more were injured or suffering from drug overdoses.
Oh, man.
On February 2nd, 1980, a combination of overcrowding, mismanagement, poorly trained guards, and a system in which prisoners were forced to snitch on each other came to a head. So this is 1980s. The American prison system is horrible.
Yes.
It still is horrible.
It's gotten worse.
I don't know if it's gotten worse than this.
Well, I'm sure like situations like this are going to become more.
They don't
more
think they can.
frequent.
I don't think they can happen anymore.
You don't think so?
The way that this happened, you'll just hear
Okay.
the exact way that this happened. Because normally, like a prison goes on lockdown now through the electronics to the outside.
Right. Yeah.
Like you can lock down doors and stuff.
Mhm.
Like you can't get through the whole facility anymore
Yeah.
in a riot situation.
Yeah.
You can still kill every guard in there,
Oh, for sure. And
I'm
every
just saying-
inmate.
but no, they'll lock the cells and like the wings and stuff like
I
that.
understand. Okay. So they can't get to the other portions.
Yeah. This was like, so this system they had made, you had to snitch. Like they were starving people. The guards were basically no experience. They threw them in there off the street. And it was extremely overcrowded, like 4 to 5 people for a 2-person cell.
Mm-hmm. That's insane.
So cell blocks contained 5 of some of the most dangerous inmates in the facility. Or cell block 5 contained some of the most dangerous inmates in the facility. A week earlier, these men were placed in an open dormitory E2 while renovations were being made on their cell block. This is when the riot began. They basically had...
So they mixed them together because
They had the monster wing in a really bad prison. They had a wing just of monsters. And they had to move them to fix their cells.
Oh,
and then it began.
gosh.
Just after 1 a.m., a group of inmates jumped the 4 guards. They seized a correction officer's keys, which gave them access to the whole prison.
Oh, there you go.
Guards also failed to secure several doors that were supposed to be locked continuously
Mm-hmm.
from the outside. Hundreds of prisoners were freed from their cells, and they were able to break into supposedly impregnable control centers and overtake Old Main. Some prisoners headed straight for the infirmary to raid the pharmaceutical supplies.
Yeah.
All they wanted was drugs. A lot of these people, it's why they're in prison, was drugs.
Well, yeah.
They had no treatment for drug addiction.
Right.
So the only thing you could think of is drugs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Others had a different destination in mind. Cell Block 4 housed a range of at-risk prisoners, including informants. So all the rats, all the people that snitched on everybody else.
Going in ditches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rioters had the keys to the blocks, but not the individual cells. A group of men, sometimes referred to as the execution squad, used a blowtorch liberation from the construction project to cut the cell blocks open.
This is like nightmare fuel.
They wanted to get into them so bad.
They were using a blowtorch to melt them.
You imagine sitting in that prison cell, waiting. They were coming to torture and murder you,
Yeah.
and they're
Just to melt the lock open. Jeez. I would be sharpening some stabby sticks.
When they got inside, they tortured, abused, murdered many of the men in the protective custody cells.
Gosh.
Negotiations began with several groups of prisoners and officials outside the facility, including the state police office and the National Guard. The prisoners had 12 guards as hostages. During the riot, some of the inmates broke pipes and started fires in the facility. Parts of the Old Man were under a foot of water, while other parts were on fire.
Wonderful.
Worst riot in prison, or in American history, at least.
Is that what it is?
This is
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
no, this is it. A lot of people died.
Okay.
Prisoners began approaching the perimeter fence. After 36 hours, the state and city police entered the facility and regained control of the prison. So yeah, a bunch of if prisoners could get out. A lot of them that didn't want to participate came out with their hands up, like just
Yeah.
put me in handcuffs. Just
Mister, get me out of here.
I don't want to be in here with the people cutting the toes off of other people with a blowtorch.
What?
Yes. That's when some of the people that are tortured, they just start cutting them into pieces from the bottom up. It happened. This happened. I want to make that. The number of prisoners were killed is usually listed as 33, but that's not accurate.
That also sounds suspicious, huh?
But but so many had been dismembered into pieces. It's impossible to actually tell the total death count. because the records at Old Main were so bad they didn't know who was in the prison.
Oh my gosh.
So they, like I said, they were cutting, the prisoners cutting other prisoners into like chunks.
Yeah.
They could never figure out how many actual prisoners were dead because they didn't know how many people were in the
Whose
prison.
chunks belong to what and who. They probably released a demon into the prison.
Oh, I think so like I said, a lot of this came from the one cell block with true monsters locked in the cages.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people were probably had some kind of actual demon attached to them.
Right.
I mean,
this might have been like
there were other prisoners that were being. Anyways, it's just I don't want to get too. I guess Old Main then closed in 1998. So this happened in 1980. It didn't close until 1998.
So they kept it running for a while.
They fixed it.
Yeah, I cleaned it up. Just dust off, buff
Anyways,
it out.
But you could still take tours. Let a number of visitors walk through the building, where hatchet marks are still visible on the floors from where they cut people up with that rusty hatchet.
Oh my gosh. That's insane.
Now, there's maybe some stories about this place being haunted, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, this is like ghost tours. A bunch of people from TV have been here. This is one of the ghosts that nobody ever talks about, and I think why nobody talks about it is how I gently touched the bloodiness of this conflict.
The brutalness of the whole situation.
Yes, I gently touched it. So I think a lot of the ghost TV shows and stuff kind of avoid it because it's
too much.
It's a lot for TV to actually go into. Like when you see the hatchet marks on the floor, you can see outlines of people because you can see where they would lay people down and cut them up into the same bits.
You'd think they would at least change that floor out as they're
still
running this place for.
It's a big concrete floor. They'd have to tear the whole place down. They hit concrete through a person so much it broke the concrete.
Well, I mean, I can see that.
A hatchet. It's not an axe.
Right, yeah. Hatchet. You're really slamming that thing down hard.
So yeah, you can take tours of Old Main. It's a museum now. They're still trying to get it to become a museum. Respect Our Past to Create a Better Future is the name. So it's not a haunted prison tour per se, but they do at the end of the tour go into the ghost side of it.
Oh, gosh. Well, yeah.
Because this tried to get swept under the rug. Nobody talked about how bad the prison riot actually was.
Because it was a state penitentiary.
Yes.
Yeah, so our tax dollars, really protected these people, really helped them out.
Yeah.
Really served our community.
I mean, reading that, just thinking about a guy cutting into your cell to cut you up.
Yeah, that's nightmare fuel. That's like staying on the beach in Portlock.
Just watching the Bigfoot pace back and forth, tearing a guy's head.
It's literally just that.
Like, that is a monster.
It's the same feeling.
Coming to murder me.
Yeah.
Badly.
Yeah.
Coming to,
brutally.
Not just, shot in the head or something like that. Coming to cut me into pieces
or just
until I die of blood loss.
Squish my guts out of my body.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Well, that you can go visit.
Yeah,
if anybody's been, because it's very popular tour destination for people that are into American prison and crime history. Because it did house some real big heavy hitters for the criminal, for serial killers, organized crime.
Okay.
It housed true monsters.
Yeah, let's do the next one. That one's just so dark. That's very dark.
The New Mexico Correctional Department is where you get your tickets to that.
Oh, okay.
So it's still ran by the New Mexico Corrections Department.
It's what's the one down the road? Marion. Not Marion.
Yeah, Marion has a prison.
Yeah, the one where they filmed Shawshank Redemption.
No, that was Marion. That was Worcester.
Worcester, okay. Well, either way, the Marion one, that one's gigantic, and that was in operation for a lot longer.
Was it
more recent than I realized?
Marion's still running.
Then it's not Marion. What am I thinking of? Mansfield.
You're thinking of Mansfield.
Mansfield. What movie did they film there?
Marion?
No, Mansfield.
Shawshank.
Okay. Mansfield.
You're right. Yes.
You said Worcester or something.
It's over by Worcester. That's the town I knew.
You're right. Okay. Yeah, the Mansfield prison. Yeah. That one was running until the 90s.
Yeah, because Marion is just a low security men's prison.
Yeah, my brother, I think, used to work there.
Same with Lucasville, because I've been in the fence of Lucasville doing a fish survey.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
you got busted.
My cousin was there. My cousin spent 3 years there at Lucasville. He said it was like Boy Scout camp.
Oh, okay.
But it was men's security, light offender,
right? Yeah,
petty theft. They had hours outside and stuff. He's like, it was just he said it was. He's a pretty tough guy though. He said it was to him like camp because he'd been to other prisons.
Yeah,
But he said that one wasn't bad because they let us play outside. And as long as you didn't act, what did he say? Act a fool. Nobody did anything. Arizona.
That's life.
What's the capital?
Arizona. Is it Phoenix?
Yeah. I would have got that one.
All right.
What makes you think of Arizona?
Same thing as New Mexico, really.
See, New Mexico makes me think of aliens. Arizona makes me think of skinwalkers.
Okay. I just think of desert. Again, Thunderbird.
The Thunderbird's another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
That's what I'm going to go with. It's the same as New Mexico to me.
I mean, like I said, the four corners, as far as what pops into my head, are very similar because it's very similar terrain, very similar peoples. Arizona. So the El Trinidad Wishing Shrine Curse.
Ooh, a wishing shrine curse. Okay.
So I'll give you the address. It's in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
420 South Main Avenue. So quietly located in what's now left of the original downtown Tucson, Arizona, Barrio Virgo, which has often been called the real soul of the city. Even through much of the Spanish colonial and other architectural was bulldozed down on the way to the city of Tucson's convention center. It is a local Tucson shrine dating back to the 1870s by Juan Olivares, a young, recently married 18-year-old Mexican sheep rancher son-in-law. Juan has been considered a sort of part of folk hero and part myth. For over 140 years, when his death resulted in a very steamy, secret local love affair with his mother-in-law, who was the wife of a very powerful, wealthy sheep rancher in the area. Juan's shrine was also responsible for stopping the government's plans for a freeway that would have destroyed and gone right through the center of what is left of Barrio Virgo.
All right.
So this little tiny town, this town in the heart of Tucson.
Yeah.
So Tucson's built around a bunch of these little tiny towns. So literally, it's the last thing standing.
And they want to build a road right through it. It's like Rock Ridge.
Only well-loved Marietta could be worth such a constant homage, for the candles, prayers, and wishes are delivered every night for 140 years in Oliveira's shrine. It's called El Tradiciono, a little throwback or cutaway. It's a tiny little cutaway right behind something. You really can't see it from the road. So you got to kind of know where you're going for it, or you're looking for it. But there's still candles to this night being put on the prayer shrine and everything. 140 years. The faithful Tucson believers and thousands of others, Juan Olivares is not a saint like any of the other Catholic churches in Rome. The shrine's little grotto actually owes its existence to Juan Olivares' steamy, secret adulterer lover and his mother-in-law. He was a sinner and a lover, said Auntie Lewis, 74, who led the fight to have El Tradiciono's shrine placed in the National Registry of Historic Places in 1971. El Tradiciono is a shrine to a bad guy, she said. When the sins of the 18-year-old ranch hand, who was often seen frequently down in in Tucson during the 1870s, while he was working up north of town, were the sins of his heart, mind, and his actions with a married woman, who was no less than his mother-in-law.
Right, his dad's wife.
His mother-in-law. His wife's mom.
Oh, duh. I'm thinking stepmom.
You're thinking stepmom,
Yeah.
His wife's mom.
His wife's mom.
He was having an affair with his wife's mom. And his father-in-law was one of the most powerful men in town that already kind of didn't like him before the affair.
What is he? He's trying to get shot.
I'm going to guess she was very pretty.
That's like death by police, like firing squad, like suicide by firing squad, whatever it's called.
El Tradiciono is a story of the West, a curse, and a love triangle. The young man Juan was in love with his mother-in-law. So El Tradiciono, also known as the Wishing Shrine, is a lovesick burial site to Juan. Juan lived and worked in a large sheep ranch north of Tucson with his young wife and his father-in-law. Juan had become infatuated with his mother-in-law, who lived with her husband in a large main house. One day when Juan went out to town to secretly again visit his beautiful mother-in-law, his father-in-law also went into town the same day to do business. Unsuspectingly, surprised when Juan and the rancher's wife were making love in his bed.
Oh.
After many strong words and a few accusations, A violent fight and struggle followed.
Yeah, you think?
Juan got free and ran out the front door yelling for help. But his enraged father-in-law, or his enraged axe-wielding father-in-law, soon caught up to the young man and began removing him into pieces.
Oh, no.
Young Juan's dried blood had a pool on the dirt. The blood spattered his father-in-law, which fled and once regained his thoughts. But he knew he would be hanged for the murder if he was caught. So he saddled up his best horse and quickly made his escape in the 65-mile ride to Sonora, Mexico, before the Tucson marshals could arrest him. The young murderer's wife was also so desperate she was found hanging from her balcony the night of the passing freight wagon.
So his wife?
Juan's wife.
So, yes, the guy's daughter.
Yes.
Then. Okay.
So the guy had killed Juan, got him into pieces.
Yes.
And I was like, I got to go back to Mexico now.
Yep.
Went back to Mexico. Juan's wife hung herself off the balcony. The murderer made it to Mexico, but within days he attempted to return back to Tucson in his ranch to herd his animals down to Mexico. Riding his horse on the trail north up to Tucson near Tubac, he was attacked by a band of Apache Native American raiders. They scalped him, stabbed him multiple times, and shot him in the head repeatedly. Took his guns, took his horse, took his clothes, tied him naked to a large cactus along the trail to Tucson wagon trail for him to die there.
Did he die?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yes.
By the morning, a southbound stagecoach going from Tucson down to Nogales came upon the gruesome sight and barely recognized the dead man.
Oh.
His body was cut down from the giant saguaro cactus, wrapped his lifeless body in canvas tarp, lashed him down from the freight area of the stagecoach, and continued on their scheduled route to Saguaro, where their body was buried. Desperate pleas from the Tucson Catholic Church officials and some of the residents, the Catholic Church refused Juan's burial on the church sanctified ground, or anything owned a cemetery due to the adulterous nature of the young man and the married woman he was with, already married yet another or so. While he himself was already married to another young woman, so the Catholic priest was also kind of committing adultery and was casting stones. Instead,
in glass houses.
Yeah. Instead, one was buried on the exact spot where his body was thrown by the enraged father-in-law after he was hacked into itty-bitty pieces. The act gave a present day the site El Traditional, means little throwaway.
So that's where the shrine is?
The shrine is built on top of where his cut-up body was.
Where his murder took place.
So the curse of the Wishing Shrine centers prominently around when visitors' motives for the visit for their own lives. It is said if one visits with a clear, open heart of forgiveness, they will pass, and their wish may even be fulfilled. For others, it's just the beginning of the history repeating itself, depending on what themselves bring to the shrine. It's also said that if you light a candle on the shrine, it remains burning all night without going out by sunrise, your wish will be granted depending on your motives. So yeah, people go to it. They treat him like a saint. It's kind of this weird. He was a bad guy. A lot of people he did bad things. He destroyed a family.
Yeah.
So they say if you go to his shrine, like I said, with a clear heart and good intentions for a genuine wish, you'll get it granted. If you're bad, you're cursed forever. And your same things you've been repeat tenfold worse.
Wow. That's kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm. It's still there. It's a it's one of these sites that is really hated by some of the, I guess we could say the council, and really loved by some of the locals, even though even the locals say he's a bad guy. Like the lady that petitioned to get it a historic national site said he was a bad guy. It's a shrine to a bad guy.
Yeah.
But it's because his mother-in-law had some money and built the shrine because she was his lover.
Right. Yeah. She wanted to
honor her lover.
Remember that time they had together.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's so bad. That's bad news, Bears. Well, I don't.
So what have we had so far? A murder, a big fish, an igloo, hitchhikers, albino cannibals.
Montana. We had a
prison.
That
was New Mexico.
That was New Mexico.
What would he do in Montana? The hitchhiker. Or
the
no,
hitchhiker,
the Montana was, the hitchhiker Black Horse.
Yep.
So we've had a lot so far.
A lot of variety.
We'll keep going a little bit longer for this first part. Nevada's next. Nevada. What's the capital? Sierra Nevada?
No. Carson City.
Okay.
What am I thinking?
I'm like, that's a beer, right?
I don't know.
That's like, I think my parents drink that, Sierra Nevada.
Or it might be
Blue Moon, Sierra Nevada. There's your free plug, Blue Moon.
You sure? I don't know.
Isn't that the same company that makes it?
I don't know.
I don't know that. I don't care.
I don't know.
What do I care? Carson City is correct.
Carson City.
Yellow Jacket gold mine. Yellow Jacket mine, Gold Hill.
Okay.
Nevada. So the Yellow Jacket mine is located in Gold Hill, Nevada. Gold Hill was incorporated in December 17th of 1862. It remains separate from the neighboring city of Virginia City. Although Gold Hill was similar to Virginia City, it had a height of population of 80,000. Gold Hill was known as a workers' town versus the opulent and elegant culture of Virginia City. So they're right next to each other, they're complete opposite places.
Okay.
Gold Hill is a workman's town, and then Virginia City was like a fancy people town. Gold Hill mines included the Yellow Jacket excavation, which over $10 million in gold and silver between 1868 and 1888. The Yellow Jacket mine fire, April 7th of 1869, was one of the worst mining disasters in Nevada history. A methane fire ignited by an unattended lamp broke at 800 feet below the surface.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not good. As the day crew were lowered into the mine, timber smoldered and collapsed, spilling poisonous gas into the Yellow Jacket mine along the nearby Connecticut and Point Crown mines.
Okay.
The firefighters attempted to rescue the miners and extinguish the fire, but as they went back for the heat and the flames, few survivors described the horrendous scene of the miners fighting to survive. Over 35 people died. 11 bodies were never recovered, and a fire occurred mid-shaft. Instead of the shaft change, fatalities would have been higher. So it happened at the bottom.
Yeah.
It would have happened in the middle. The whole thing would have killed hundreds of people.
Right. Oh, yeah, because they wouldn't have been able to get out.
Mm-hmm. The fires continued to burn. The unaffected shafts were sealed off. 3 weeks after the disaster, miners returned to work to the accessible tunnels. They explored sister mines. They stayed out the day. So basically, Yellow Jacket's miner's cabin is now owned by the Gold Hill Hotel and Saloon. It is an apartment style and can be rented out through the hotel. If you haven't stayed there, it stayed in the lodge and the Brewer's Lodge across the street. Restaurant, Counterpoint, amazing diners, all that fun stuff. So the history with this is that if you go near the mines, they say that you can stay at the hotel, you can actually stay at the Yellow Jacket miner's cabin.
Okay.
Which is owned by the local hotel.
So it's still there.
Yeah, it's like an apartment style now, a separate little back thing behind the hotel. If you go to the mine entrances, which you don't ever go into the mine. But you can hear screaming, as they say.
Oh,
you still hear people yelling for help. Because there was some of the miners they were worried were actually trapped in sections of tunnel for days, not weeks.
I do not. Yeah, I don't want to go there.
I don't go underground.
I don't mind going underground, like caves and stuff. Though I think that's
a
cool.
long time to die.
Yeah, I don't want to go in a mine. I do not want to go in a mine.
If I die, I die. I'm comfortable, but I don't want to die for weeks.
Just staring into darkness.
And black.
Yeah.
And waiting for me to die of dehydration.
I don't know, it might be some cool stuff you experience, though, in those fleeting moments.
Yeah, as you go nuts.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that scientist that did that, right? Sealed himself in a cave, like in a little hotel. Like he had no lights, and people would come in every 5 months to do a health check on him.
Oh, my gosh.
So like 3 or 4 months in, or 3 or 4 visits in, so like 2 years. They had went in and done a health check. He was doing okay. They left. They immediately turned back around because they forgot something. The guy thought it had been another 5 months.
That fast?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he was nuts, and he was passing all the health checks.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, and he was talking to him like, all right, and he was getting his arm ready for like blood, like he was doing the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, they're here again.
It was weird. Yeah. So that one's kind of short. I had another one. The Native American legend of Pyramid Lake, which is there in Nevada. The Paiute Indian Reservation, just a few miles north of Reno. right on the Paiute Indian Reservation, Pyramid Lake,
Hmm.
the water babies.
Oh, okay.
So the beautiful lake has natural stone formations. So you can go to this lake. I think Pyramid Lake has public access that isn't on the Native American reservation. But yeah, but tons and tons of legends of water babies. The first of these water babies, the myth of water babies of Pyramid Lake it may simply be coincidence, but almost every spring an unlucky angler disappears while trying to catch a record-sized cutthroat trout. So this is the place where they stand on ladders to fish for cutthroats.
Yeah.
It is a world-class trout destination for an angler.
Okay.
This is something, it's extremely expensive to do. It's extremely hard to fish. When you're there, it's extremely hard to catch a fish. But it has more world record cutthroats than any place place. So if you're that kind of person,
This is where to go.
every year at least one angler dies falling off the ladder.
Jeez,
It disappears. Like next to other anglers. Never seen again.
they getting eaten?
Water babies. So maybe coincidence, but at least every spring an angler disappears while trying to catch a record-sized cutthroat. Their bodies are seldom ever recovered. Some attribute the disappearances to the 350-foot depth of the lake, while others just simply blame the water babies. What are the water babies? Since no one has ever lived to tell the tale, according to the local folklore, it all depends on whom you ask. Established that before the white men arrived at Pyramid Lake, members of the Paiute Native tribe threw their ill-formed and premature babies into the water. The tribe felt that it was necessary to keep the tribe strong in the harsh desert environment. I don't know how true that is.
Ill-formed?
That sounds like a white settlers story.
What do you mean?
Well, the Paiutes, they're throwing their babies into the lake over there.
Well, that's like how the wasn't it like the Greeks or in like the movie 300?
Yeah, when they had the lead pipes and they were all going nuts.
Well, they took their weak or their ill-formed children, they just tossed them off the cliff. If they made it back, then they were strong enough.
I don't know how accurate 300 is.
Frank Miller.
So according to the first version of legend, an angry spirit of these cast-off infants took hold of the lake over the centuries. Now nearly every spring, they take revenge upon any unlucky fisherman they can get. The Paiute legend of the water babies, though, the Paiutes who live near the lake tell a completely different tale, as you would imagine.
Yeah. You mean the truth?
Yeah. According to staff members of the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe Museum and Visitor Center, the story began with a family vacationing off the Californian coastline. While a Paiute boy met and fell in love with a mermaid-like creature. He was determined to marry her, brought her home to Pyramid Lake to meet his tribe members. They insisted to take her back to the ocean, but before they left, the rejected creature put a curse on the waters near there. Shortly after, two sisters were washing their cloths in the river. One sister had a small infant whom she had she'd left in the shade of a large tree while they were doing chores, so right behind her.
Okay.
Unnoticed by the adults, a serpent emerged from the river, eating the child and taking its form. When the mother went to feed the child, the demonic infant began to devour the young woman. When their sister and other tribe members could make the baby release its grip, they called for the medicine man. The faithful deal was made. The demon would be free to inhabit the lake if the young mother was restored back to full health. Mythbusters and ghost hunters are reportedly baffled by the phenomena of presence looming over Pyramid Lake. People have reported hearing the disjointed cries of individual babies, the laughter of phantom children. Pyramid Lake natives say that there's noises and bad omens. If you hear it, you leave. And there's even a bunch of the fishermen that have said that they've heard it while they're on their ladders.
Oh, gosh.
And that they didn't know the stories.
Yeah.
And they've asked their guides. One of my fishing pages, literally, this happened probably 5-6 years ago, had heard like baby crying. He asked his guide if that was like a deer or something like that. Like he didn't know what's out there.
Yeah.
And the guy just wouldn't look at him, kept looking down, wouldn't look at him. And they ended early. And he never knew why they ended early till like weeks later. And he looked it up.
He finally, okay.
Like the water babies were circling them and the guide kind of knew it.
Yeah. Time to get out of there.
Mm-hmm. There's also siren calls, like literally like ocean sirens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So people hear like what they claim is Native American women singing, luring people, whether it's luring people in or warning people that the water babies are coming. But yeah, you can go to Pyramid Lake. There's museums, there's visitor centers. It's a fishing destination. But yeah.
Just if you're going
Don't
fishing
go in the
there,
water.
Yeah, stay out of the water.
I probably wouldn't fish there.
Get your really?
I mean, I don't need a trophy-sized cutthroat trout that bad.
What makes them special? Cutthroat trout.
Very rare. They're cousins of the rainbow trout from the Pacific.
Okay.
They're pretty rare subspecies to actually get a hold of as anglers.
Wow. Okay.
And they're generally pretty small. In most locations, you can catch them.
Yeah.
Due to introduced species like brown trout and stuff like that, they don't do as well anymore.
This is one of their last strongholds.
It is. I mean, they get massive there. They get like
the water babies are protecting them.
Yeah, the water babies are riding them.
Or that too. Yeah, they might be. That's why they're so big.
That's why they're so big. We'll do one more. We'll end on Colorado for this first part.
Colorado.
The capital
is Denver.
Yeah. And like I said, we're not doing any of the big ones. Because what does Colorado make you think of?
Well, mountains. Immediately.
Cryptids, paranormal, ghost, UFOs.
Let's see here. California. I'm trying to think what specifically. I mean,
Colorado.
I mean, Bigfoot.
You just said California.
Oh, sorry. Colorado. I don't know why I said California. Thinking Colorado. Colorado. I just think of mountains. Bigfoot. I mean, just Bigfoot.
Denver International Airport. Always.
I guess I'm thinking more of the cryptids.
I mean, like I said, it's all of it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I try to space out the cryptids, not go too heavy on.
I try to think more paranormally cryptid. But yeah, the international airport.
Did you see they just installed a talking gargoyle?
No.
So yeah, they started leaning into the Illuminati, Blizzard Men, all that stuff. Yeah, like with the signage. After we did our Denver, which is both those parts are in our top 5 episodes ever for downloads.
Dang. Okay.
No, they inserted a talking gargoyle that says, "Welcome to Illuminati headquarters." I mean, the Denver International Airport. And it says all kinds of weird cryptic things like that.
Why?
And it just looks like Satan. It just looks like a big stone Satan.
Is it just like they have to put it right in your face just for...
I think if it's... well, it depends on what's actually happening there. Like I said, the sex trafficking, the thing. Yeah. It gives you that false thing. Like you're looking at a Halloween decoration. So there's nothing actual scary happening. You have that kind of... I think that may be the perception. But they lean into it. Be like, look, there's lizard men back here.
Right, but people forget, like, it's an airport.
Right.
There's zero reason for that.
But
it's
now,
like,
they got caught, kind of. Yeah. The spooky's there. So now they got to lean into it and be...
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it makes it feel more real now.
To us. Not to the average person.
I guess anyone that's really paying attention.
Yeah, right now it's just a goofy tourist thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, where's the goof?
The ghost of Third Bridge. Colorado. Urban legends tell a story of a bridge located in a desolated prairie southeast of Denver. The Third Bridge, or Ghost Bridge, is often referred to. It carries County Line Road over the dry bed of the Kiowa Creek. So there you go. If you want to go out there, there's how to get to it. The details of the story are mostly unknown, but someone says they take a long drive at night. They hear faded sounds of drums, horses' hoofs beating across the bridge, and reenact stories of death by car accident, murders, and massacres. Are these stories? Is there any of it true forever? Was there any blood spilled long ago? If you follow the dirt road down the big hill, the Third Bridge is a popular spot for ghost hunters, thrill seekers, and teens looking for a place to party. Due to mostly being secluded location and its accessibility, the landscape of the area is something straight out of a scary movie. The dirt road across the plains, going over a large hill, the kind that makes you kind of wonder what's on the other side at the top. You drop down into a wooded bank of the dry creek bed known as Kiowa Creek. The bridge itself is a long span of concrete and metal. The kind that running across it would take a while to get from one end to the other, and there's no escape by jumping off the sides because it's at least a 15-foot drop into a dry creek bed. So it kind of gives you that the Goatman train track feel.
Like you're stuck on
it. You can't, jump off into the rocks.
Right, or get hit by a train.
Yeah. The later it gets, the quieter it gets, creating a perfect time for one to listen for the sounds of the Native American drums. The bridge exists today, though it's not the original bridge over Kiowa Creek. This new bridge was built in the 1970s, laying just a few yards west of the remnants of the original bridge.
Okay.
So you can still go look at the original bridge where all this stuff happened.
It's like the Silver Bridge. You can see the foundations.
You can see the foundations. The tales of the paranormal occur for the modern bridge are even more recent. dating back to the mid-1990s, originally the stories of a Native American massacre that had been brought to the people to the banks of the Kiowa Creek. You reported hearing screams, apparitions of Native Americans, the sound of horse hoofs beating across the bridge. Flashes of light are associated with the legend as well. Normally before and after the events start.
Okay.
So before you start hearing stuff, you'll see a big flash of light, and then right as it's in, you'll see a big flash of light.
Okay.
But yeah, there's been several deadly car wrecks here as well. 2 carloads of 15 kids aged 11 to 17 decided to head out to the country road 50 to the fabled Ghost Bridge one summer night. At around 11 p.m., 2 cars sped down the road at 25 miles an hour, or the 25 mile an hour dirt road. They were going 75 miles an hour.
Gosh, yeah, that's not safe.
As the first vehicle crested the very large hill that lies the west of the bridge, Jessica, age 16, lost control of the Toyota Corolla, veering off the left side of the bridge, skidding nearly 80 feet, hitting the guardrail. The car slid down 47 feet off the guardrail, which impaled the car through the windshield.
Ooh.
Before falling 15 feet into the dry creek bed. Leading over the driver's side of the vehicle, one teen, age 14, immediately died upon impact. Another, age 12, died of her injuries the next morning. Jessica, the driver, was thrown from the vehicle and paralyzed from her injuries the rest of her life.
Oh, jeez.
The 3 other passengers in the vehicle suffered all major and catastrophic injuries. The second car, a Dodge Shadow, attempted to avoid the first wreck, flew off the road on the other side of the trees along the bridge. However, all the occupants in the vehicles recovered steadily from their injuries.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's good at least.
To the day following the accident, friends and family searched Dry Creek bed and find belongings of victims, including hair ties, which one of the ladies that died on this scene. So they're still finding stuff from it. There was a Native American massacre here, by the way. In 1864, the Sand Creek Massacre was right nearby. It's not a great one, as any massacre. The legend goes, the settlers killed men of the tribe, and they later returned to finish off the women and children of the tribe, dragging down to the creek and brutally murdering them. Led by Colonel John Shiverington. The nearby town still bears his name.
Okay.
He killed a lot of Native American kids and ladies.
So I guess if you feel so obliged to come see this bridge, approach with extreme caution. Obey the speed limit signs.
As far as the drum goes, people hear it constantly.
Really?
Local cops have claimed to hear it. Politicians, everybody.
Man.
Have said they don't know about ghosts or anything like that, but
I hear the drums.
I've heard the drums down there.
Right. That's kind of like what I tell people, especially skeptics, when it comes to Bigfoot. It's like, it may not. What if it's not real? The phenomena is like people are still seeing something, whether it's a Bigfoot or not. They're seeing something. So the drums, people are hearing it. It's real, but what is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's there. I mean, if blood and fear and death can create like these flashpoints, that would be one that would do it.
Yeah,
that would be one that, I mean, cutting up a bunch of women and kids on the creek bed.
Probably doesn't.
That would, I mean, if you could do that, if you could instill fear and torture into the land, that would be a way to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so this is part 1 of the season finale, Hometown Legends / Legend Tripping.
Yeah.
So far, at least all of these that aren't submitted have accessible points. Be very careful. Don't go. I don't think anybody should go to any of these things. I know a lot of people do. But you can, it's up to you.
Some would be cool to see.
But if you have pictures of any of these sites, let me know. We have a big listener base, and I would love to see if anybody have been to these sites. Remember, guys, always be respectful. Don't graffiti. Don't take things. Don't mess with these places.
Right.
Just observe and then leave.
Observe and experience.
I have been the Season 6 Great and Powerful Mystery.
And I've been J-Clone 6.
We'll catch you next week, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to Cryptids of the Corn podcast. Remember, the best way to support the show is share it with a friend. But if you are craving more of the J-Clones
and more from Mr. E,
there's always extra content on Patreon
and our paid member space on cryptidsofthecorn.com.
We'll catch you next time with more exciting, fun, and informative information. Bye.